Thieves of the Tome is a one-shot role-playing game for 3 to 6 players. You play the game with real books off your shelf, and in the game, the players are going to steal spellbooks from evil wizards. This is the first video in a video series about how to play the game, and we're going to talk about making a spellbook. So step 1, you're going to choose any book off your shelf. The book genre or anything doesn't really matter. I've chosen a nonfiction book called Packing to Mars about what it would be like from a scientific perspective to live on Mars. You can choose anything you want, nonfiction, fiction, brochure. People have even played this with little magazines before. The first thing we're going to talk about are spells. Every chapter in your book is going to be a spell. The spell name is going to be the name of the chapter, and we're going to try to make the effect something that has something to do with that name. So in this book, we're going to have spells like he's smart but his birds are sloppy, or life in a box. We'll start with the first chapter in the book. So, to begin, we're going to write that in the spell name column. He's smart, but his birds are sloppy. So, that's the name of our spell. The rest of our spell should do something related to that name. So, he's smart, but his birds are sloppy. This sounds like, for keeping it simple, maybe the spell makes someone very smart, but followed by, I don't know, a flock of dumb birds. So, to turn that into a spell, first thing we're going to do is write a choose statement, and this is something simple like choose a person. It's prompting the spellcaster to give an input to the spell. Now we'll write the effect. We just want to write what it does to the choice. So, chosen person develops a genius IQ and is followed by a flock of messy chickens. You don't need to worry about rules like d6s or d20s when making spells, just write a clear human effect. The next chapter in spell is life in a box. Now for the choice, you don't always have to write a single thing. We could do choose a person and a length of time. Yeah, I like that. Then for the effect, we'll say chosen person can't leave a cardboard box for that chosen length of time. So we've used both of these choices in making the effect. The key thing here is players will not know what these spells do when they cast them. You're going to trade this book to someone else, and they're only going to know the chapter titles. They won't know anything in the choice or effect column, so they're going to have to make an educated guess about what they're casting. So remember, you're making spells for another person here. Alright, Star Crazy. So, I'm not feeling super inspired for this one, so what I usually suggest is you go to the first page of that chapter and read a couple words there to try to get some inspiration. So, can space blow your mind? Yeah, it seems like this chapter is about the severe mental strain of going to space, so I think we can work with that. Let's do a little abstract on the choice here. We'll do choose a constellation. Now, let's see, all who are within 100 feet must look in the direction of that constellation. You'll notice for this one, choice isn't like a person, place, or thing. Choice isn't necessarily just a real thing you have to choose. It can be very abstract, like left, right, a color. It's really just trying to get the caster to put some input into the spell. Our next spell is You Go First. Okay, I think I have a good idea for this one. So choose number 2 people. We're going to call one number 1 and the other number 2. And for the effect, we're going to say number 1 must do anything that number 2 asks them to. But I think this isn't fair to number 1, so we'll say number 2 must follow them by doing the same thing. You know, that way it's like you go first. Our next spell is Unstowed. I'm not feeling super inspired for this one either, so I'm going to flip to that chapter page. Throwing up and down, it's a funny name. Unstowed, okay, yeah, this seems like it's about cargo coming undone in a spaceship, so I think I have an idea. We'll do choose any number of objects, and we'll say chosen objects no longer experience gravity. You notice this one, you can choose any amount. It doesn't have to be just choosing one thing. Our final spell is Throwing Up and Down. I think I have a good idea for this one, so we'll just go choose a person. Chosen person cannot stop throwing up for 12 hours. You'll notice I didn't specify a duration in any of the other ones. It doesn't matter, you can do it if you want to. You can be as specific or non-specific as you want. so now I have my spells. This ends when each player has written about 6 spells for someone else. And what we do next is we close our books and we put our book in the middle of the table. We're done with it for now. Someone else is going to get it to cast spells with for the rest of the game. Now we are going to next hand our spell sheet to the GM. And the GM is going to be the keeper of all the spells in the game. So when someone casts a spell later in the game, they are going to say the spell name out loud, and the GM is going to ask them for a choice, and then we will say what happens after they have made that choice. So let's see, I have Absolution here, and I've had my brother Oliver write me a spell for it. So let's see, I have my spell book. Let's say I'm going to cast the Biologist. The GM, let's say the GM says, choose a person and an animal. All right, I'll choose myself and a giraffe. That person becomes an expert on that animal and can turn into that animal at will. Okay, that's pretty sick. Okay, great. I can turn into a giraffe at will, and I'm an expert on it. So this was the first video walkthrough of Thieves of the Tome. Back us now on Kickstarter, and thanks for watching.